there is a lot of big breaking news going on right now, and I also just got an emergency insider warning. This is a personal warning of somebody that I just bumped into at the store, right? So big stuff is going on, big parts are moving, and insiders are warning that they are going to the bunker, okay? They are getting their bunkers ready, and we need to be getting ready too, all right? We need to be getting ourselves stocked up because they are trying to escalate a global war. A massive world war is already going on in the background. We have all these different parts moving, okay? We have Russia, Ukraine, we have China and Taiwan, and now we have Israel, and Iran is ramping up. Big things are going on right now, and we need to be getting prepared. We need to be getting ready. And this coincides with what this insider is warning, that people are getting their bunkers ready and they're getting their bunkers prepared, because I'm not that far from this massive bunker location, actually. So a lot of big stuff is happening, and it all coincides. And I actually got this warning just a couple days ago, before all this stuff popped off, before we are seeing what we are seeing in the news right now. And this was all coordinated and calculated, what's going on right now. But before we saw it, okay, just a couple days ago when I was at the feed store, I got this warning. All right, so you need to be stocking up. You need to be getting your family ready, getting your family to a safe location, because they are planning something big for the US, and everyone can feel it. All right, they're using this as a shift into a larger global war. We can see the battle lines being drawn, and they are also going to use this to declare martial law. And if things get worse as well in this region, we could see the price of oil spike. We could see oil taken off the market, off the international markets overnight. Okay, we could see lines being drawn in the economy and in the supply chain as well. We already have this where the US has a massive oil embargo on Russian oil right now, and it's causing disruptions in the market, and they are finding ways to get around it, actually. And we could see very similar things happen with Saudi Arabia, with Iran, with the Persian Gulf. This could happen overnight, where oil coming from this region could be shut down internationally, at least going to the West. All right, so this is something that we need to all be getting ready for. This is going to affect our supply chains. It's going to affect our economy. Our border is being overwhelmed right now as well. There are thousands of people. I was reading that they encountered around 75,000 special interest people. That's what the DHS was saying, around 75,000 of these people just in the last year, okay, of people that are raising red flags and coming into the country. It's not just people coming from South America, okay, that's a giant portion of it, but there are people coming from all over, and there are potentially even these sleeper units inside the US. And think of places like New York. They are housing them, they are feeding them, and they are giving them money for free. And these potentially, some of them could definitely be units inside the US that could be activated during a situation, because the Washington Post just came out and they are now connecting Iran to these attacks, and they're saying that Iran helped plan it for weeks. All right, that's the official narrative that's now being released from the Washington Post. All the mainstream news is saying, hey, Iran did this and they helped plan it, and that's very possible. But the US is funding both sides of this. The US is funding Iran. The US is facilitating Iran with their nuclear weapons production and their nuclear production. And the US is also funding Israel and facilitating them. Okay, there are tanks on the street in Israel right now. Tanks on the street everywhere. I was reading a story about a tank fell off and it crushed a car, right? People were driving on the highway and it fell off and crushed a car. And a lot of these tanks are US tanks, right? A lot of them are funded by the US, and these are sold to them by these military industrial complex contractors, these very powerful companies, Lockheed Martin, all these different companies. They fund both sides of the war. And if you guys remember, there was over $80 billion worth of weapons left in Afghanistan just a few years ago. So these weapons could now be resurfacing through these groups, right? So this stuff's happening, big stuff's going on. And I just got this warning as well, right? So I was at the local feed store, okay? And I was getting some chicken food for my chickens, and I was standing in line behind this guy, and the cashier was asking him, do you have a business, right? Because they can like write it off for their taxes. They don't charge them any tax if they have a business, right? And he said, oh yeah, I actually do. And the lady's like, what is your business? And he said, I'm working on these bunkers. I build these bunkers and repair these bunkers. And I was like, wait a minute, this guy does bunkers, and he had a contracting shirt on and a contracting hat. It was actually two guys, but it was just one guy talking, and I talked to him. And I asked him, I was like, so you make these doomsday bunkers, what's going on with these right now? What are you doing in this area building these bunkers? And he said that people are swarming back to this area, okay? And this is in South Dakota. And they actually have a major location in South Dakota, in Igloo, South Dakota, where they have hundreds of old military bunkers where people buy them and they deck them out, right? And they have these bunkers. And he's saying that he's been building new bunkers like crazy, and he's been doing bunker repairs because all the millionaires, all the elites, everyone's coming back and checking on their bunkers and making sure they're decked out for when it hits the fan, right? Making sure they're stocked up, making sure they have food, making sure they're nice inside, making sure they have solar generation, they're completely off grid. And he said the big thing that they were worried about is cracks, any tiny crack in the bunker or anything. He said they wanted it sealed. He said these people want this stuff completely sealed off, and they have HEPA filters, heavy filtration, carbon filters. All these things are being put in place inside these bunkers. And he said that for some reason there's a excess amount of people coming to this area to check on their bunkers and to see exactly what's going on. All right, so, and they don't want anything to be able to get inside, like radiation or some kind of event like that, a chemical, biological, radiological event. They don't want any of that to be able to enter their bunker. All right, so big things are going on. People know what's going on behind the scenes, okay? And we can see it too. Everyone can just feel it. But there are a group of people that know what's going on behind the scenes, like this U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham. He's saying he can't wait to start bombing Iran, which could have nuclear capabilities very soon. And even Saudi Arabia was saying, if Iran gets it, then we want to have it. All right, we are moving towards a biblical scenario is being set up right now because they want to bring in this end time scenario. They're using this stuff as a blueprint, okay? They are literally using Revelations and the end times as a blueprint for what they are doing. Whether you believe in it or not, they are using it for their master plan and their blueprints, okay? And they're saying this is what we want to do, and they're going to create this massive war, create massive famine, create massive starvation, create massive chaos, riots, all these things. They need to collapse this current system that we are in so they can build a new system on top of it. And it's going to be this beast system where everything is tracked and traced, face scanned. There you have a CBDC, central banking digital currency, and it's tied to your biometric face scan, your iris scan. And all these things are the future. That's what's coming, and there's going to be no way to escape it. All right, they're going to say, we're in this massive global giant war, and we need a global governance to do this. We need a global governing body. That's why they want to take down the US from the inside out, and that's why we are being left completely wide open, right? And anyone that's advocating for these wars, it's just like, would you want to be in the middle of these wars? Because it's coming to America soon. A lot of these times, they're just isolated. They seem far away. It seems distant. It seems like it's not affecting us, but it is coming to America soon, right? We can't hide from this stuff from forever. And if you are advocating for war in any of these countries, okay, just imagine people advocating for war in America, and there's enough countries that just say, we're going to do it. We're willing to deal with the consequences of advocating for this, and we're going to activate cells and activate situations inside America, all right? There could be tens of thousands of these cells inside of America that are getting free housing, free phones, and free money that can be activated at any time. And they are even now allowing people that are not even US citizens to be part of the police force. And everyone can feel this stuff. This is why they just did this national test. All right, they are getting us ready for something big. So when it does happen, they can control the narrative, and they can tell us exactly who did what, because they're getting ready for something to happen domestically on US soil, guaranteed. They have the National Guard running radiological hazmat event situations. They have all these things going on, and they're getting ready for the big one. All right, we have these people going to their bunkers and checking on them, and he's saying even people that aren't millionaires or billionaires are trying to buy bunkers, all right? Because in this area, this is in Igloo, South Dakota, they actually have like completely empty bunkers for, I believe it's like $40,000 or something like that. So it's actually something that people can get into for not that much money, okay? And they're just empty. It's just like an empty bunker, but these are abandoned military grade bunkers, and this is where they used to store all of their goods. And then once people buy those, they kind of like build a house inside of it. They kind of remodel it. They add walls, they add a kitchen, they add bathrooms, everything, right? They just make a house inside of these bunkers, and they have like curved roofs, right? So this is happening right now. People are getting ready, people are getting prepared, and this guy said he's never been more busy with bunker repairs and bunker remodeling and bunker add-ons right now, right? This is a contractor that specifically does stuff for bunkers, and I just felt like it was meant to be that I ran into this guy, right? It was crazy, right? So these things are happening. The word needs to get out, right? I ran into this guy for a reason, because this video needed to be made, and this word needs to get out, all right? So hit it up for me down there to help get this video out to more people. People need to know the elites they're trying to like foolproof their bunkers right now. They're trying to fill in all the cracks. They're trying to make sure they're completely sealed, because they do not want to be exposed to any type of biological, chemical, radiological event that they are preparing for on domestic soil. All right, so get your family ready, get your tanks filled up right now, all right? Because we could see the grid go down as well. If we see a EMP event, that could wipe out the grid. And they've done multiple studies, all right? They had a congressional report, and this was a few years ago, and they said that if a EMP was detonated over St. Louis, Missouri, that it would wipe out a massive portion of the US grid, And they're saying that 90% of people would not survive the first year of a total grid collapse from a EMP, all right, which is essentially just a nuclear detonation in the atmosphere. So it doesn't even have to hit. And it's so dangerous too, because think about it. Once a nuclear device is in the air, it's already over the continental United States. You are risking a EMP situation just trying to shoot it down. So if you go and try to shoot down this missile or shoot down this drone, whatever it is, all right, there's a multitude of different situations. You could just end up causing a EMP that wipes out the electronics and wipes out the grid in this area, right? And they said 90% of people, because think about it, all the logistics of the supply chain would shut down, right? Think of the billions of dollars that operate exclusively on the internet and need electricity to be operating, right? All these things would shut down overnight, and then you would also not get electricity to your home, and people would start losing it, right? There would be massive food riots, there would be food shortages, there would be stuff going bad at every grocery store. It'd be impossible to get any kind of cold items, right? Because they wouldn't be able to transport it. Everything would be running off of diesel generators if they survived the EMP event. That's the problem, is it damages electronics, and even things like cars, their electronic systems are vulnerable. Okay, so we could see the trucking industry switched off overnight as well from an EMP event. We could see massive cyber attacks as retaliation on the US. If the US gets further involved into the situation, Iran does have massive cyber capabilities, and we could see them retaliate on the US, and that could be the thing to get the US to retaliate back, right? And then we're in a massive explosive World War III situation, and there's a cyber attack wiping out the grid or taking out the banking systems and the banking supply. And don't think they don't want this. This is what they want. This is part of the plan, because if the grid's wiped out, they can bring back their new grid that's extremely limited, extremely small, and going to be rationed with your smart grid, your smart meter, and with your carbon credits. Don't think they're going to be sad if their banking Ponzi scheme gets cyber attacked and gets shut down and gets destroyed. Don't think they're going to be sad. They will be celebrating if the banks are cyber attacked and our monetary system is wiped out and shut down overnight, because then they finally have the excuse to bring in this new central banking digital currency on top of its ashes. So you need to just be thinking big picture, long-term game. This is a chess piece being moved. This is chess, all right? The entire globe, all these movements, the supply chain movement, the movement of people into certain countries. Think of all these people moving into the US and Europe the past 6 months. It's been insane, all right? Record breaking. And now we are on the verge of this World War III scenario where all these people, a lot of them, they are not loyal to this country. And a lot of them are hostile. They were sold a fake dream as well. A lot of these people saying that they're going to be living it up, and now they are just living on the streets, struggling in some random country, and they can't even speak the language, right? That's exactly what's happening. So they are creating chaos. Think of all these pieces being moved. These are chess pieces being moved around, though. Think of the U.S. military is moving its ships, and the U.S. Navy, they are moving their ships closer to Israel right now and show of solidarity with them, right? Think of all these pieces being moved around on the chessboard right now. Think of that national emergency alert. Think of those satellite phones that were sent to the senators 6 months ago. Think of all these things. These are chess pieces, and sometimes they will sacrifice chess pieces and pawns to advance their narrative and advance their agenda, because this stuff that's going on over there is extremely suspicious and the narrative is not adding up. How did this country that has one of the most actively watched and militarized borders in the entire world, how did this happen? How did they allow hundreds of these cars to swarm in, right? How was there no military response for hours, right? That's exactly what boots on the ground are saying, that nobody was responding for 6+ hours in this situation, right? So we need to be getting ready, all right? These chess pieces are being moved on the board, and another one that's moving right now is these bunkers. They're getting the bunkers ready. They are getting ready to evacuate to the bunkers, and the US military and the US government has these deep underground military bases, these DUMBs, and they are all over the US. They have massive tunnel systems all over the US, all over DC. They have them all over Denver and Colorado. Admittedly, they have these US military tunnel systems under the mountains and under the cities, all right? And they will be evacuating to these areas when it hits the fan, right? That's why these people are getting their bunkers ready and getting them prepared, right? Because not everyone's going to have access. Only government and military personnel are going to have access, but a lot of millionaires and billionaires, they are building their own bunkers, and even common people, right? Some of these bunkers, you can get them for around $40,000, just completely empty, but these are US military grade bunkers. But that's what they are getting ready for, all right? And I can't afford a bunker. I'm not saying you should do that. I live in my RV off grid. It's one of these things, you can only prepare so much, all right? Situations have limitations. You can only prepare so much. I still have chickens, all right? And I have the skills. I have a ton of seeds. I have a ton of water filters. I have stocks. I have preps. I have food. I have medicine. All these things I need, but you can only prepare so much. You can only prepare so much, all right? So please hit it up for me down there to help get this video out to more people. People need to know, all right? This guy's swamped with bunker repairs, and he's saying people are trying to get their bunkers in tip-top shape right now, all right? So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have big blessings in your life. I hope you guys have safety in your life, and let's have peace, all right? I want peace. That's what I want from all this. I don't want a massive global war. I want there to be peace in this situation, all right? That's what I'm advocating for. I do not want more carnage, all right? Because it could spread, and I know that it could come here next, all right? So thank you guys so much, and I hope you have a big old blessed day.